Welcome to the Great Hall of the Derry Upper Village Hall. Come on in and we'll show you around. As you can see, it's enormous in size. These are almost everything in here is original woodwork. Obviously the plastering and sheetrock has been refurbished over many years. But this has served the Red Star Twirlers. This was the Grange area for many years. This was the town hall meeting area. We have a lot of their old chairs and benches still available to us. At the very rear of the hall, you can see where the wainscoting has moved up a little bit. That was where the stage area was for all the town presentations. Down here, and I'm sure you'll have a very difficult time seeing it, but we'll show you the rest of it, the other end of it from the basement, is the old trap door when this was the Grange and the meeting hall and had the original stage here. At one time, if you can imagine this, they would have huge stage curtains on either side of this, across this large stage, and they would put on plays, they would have meetings, everything else. In between acts, when you couldn't see their movements, they would bring all the stage crews, the scenery, and all the actors would go up and down through these doors. And they're still in existence. They have been sealed up, but it's a part of the history that we want to conserve here. This fire exit was added many years later to code. In this corner, we have one of our original relics. It's been damaged many, many times, but what we have in our possession is one of the original stage curtains from probably the early 1900s. It was damaged in a fire. We've had it rolled up forever. We've actually had a group that I didn't know exists. There's actually a historical society called Stage Curtains Without Borders that travels into many areas and will refurbish the stage curtain.
Part of the history of that curtain is that someone put it in his barn for safekeeping so that it wouldn't be damaged if anything happened to this building. Unfortunately, he had a fire in his barn.
And one thing that you should notice are those two rather large vents at the top. People always wondered what they were for, and originally back when this building was built in the 1800s, there certainly wasn't any central air conditioning. Those are actually vents to allow all the heat out of this building in the summer, and it was done in a very special way. It would get very hot in the summer here, and with heat rising and no way to vent everything out, even with the windows open, they built these little hidden panels in the side of the building with nothing but a cleat and a rope. Later on we'll take you upstairs and show you up in the attic how this rope runs all the way up through the wall, across the attic joists, onto the huge vents, which are nothing but huge trap doors, and two guys would just get here and crank it open, reel it open like they were on a ship, and then tie it down to the cleat, and that was the 1800s version of air conditioning. We're going to keep this and restore it. We've got a couple of areas of different colored wood where there used to be huge coal stoves down in the basement, and this is where the vents came up. These are the tire tracks, this one and this one. And Mr. Dick Childs, an old East Derry resident, was able to enlighten us on some of these things, that the trucks would actually back up, if you can imagine, and park right here, the one behind the other. And this is actually an original oil leak from the transmission. And we intend on keeping that heritage even if we refinish the floors, because it's a great story. This is the grand foyer of the Upper Village Hall. We have one of the original doors here that we found up in the attic. We've just brought it out to bring it mostly to show to people, but we have its mate upstairs. We're planning on refinishing it, and when the time comes, replacing these newer glass doors with the original doors. This staircase, and I don't know whether you can tell this or not on camera, is very steep I couldn't even tell you what the pitch is, but as of right now, it is not any fire code or building code that exists nowadays. We have opted to keep this original staircase, even though it's going to cause us to not be able to use the upper reaches of this area for the public domain. This was the post office area for East Derry, and this is one of the original mail slots. To when you just walked in and dropped off your mail clerks were behind this area. This is the ex-headquarters of the world-famous Red Star Twirlers here. At one point in time, we kept a remnant, and we intend on keeping it. The intent at some point in time is to get a frame and glass and mount it on one of the walls. But this is part of their old carpeting that originally was over this floor area. And when they had it installed, we were able to pretty much keep the record straight with this. They installed this in 1996 for their 20th anniversary. And they had all the Red Star Twirlers sign it. Andrea Fletcher, age 13. Over in this area, we've brought these downstairs, and we have since found another couple that we haven't brought down yet. These are, they call the stage wing curtains, I believe. There's dates on the back of them. They're so fragile right now, we tend to not touch them, but I think this one dates to the about 1913. This is one of our original rooms. We don't know what it was used for over the years, but it had very, very, very few modifications. You can tell there's the original wainscoting, and it shows the original horsehair style form of plaster and lathe with the brick behind it. Obviously, there was some 1960s paneling put on the upper, and that's coming down. Here is one of our old ducts for the original pot-bellied furnace that was used to heat each and every room. And here is their version of these wonderful old storage closets. We have no idea what they used them for or why they built them so tall, but this is all original and original woodwork for everything up here, including all the old crank style sash windows.